All my friends are heathens, take it slow. Wait for them to ask you who you know.
Yo, what's good, everybody? And today we got Ryan Clark on why Bridgewater is the starting quarterback versus Denver Broncos versus the Rams. And this is I'm gonna tell you my take of this video, why it was it was the right decision, and yeah, I tell you it's like the right decision and shit because mm, it was the right decision. All right, let me stop talking. I'm over here mumbling my words.
Would be Aaron Rodgers. That never happened. They didn't get a quarterback in the draft, so they traded for one in Teddy Bridgewater. They bring him in, and he and Drew Lock went head to head, and Teddy Bridgewater emerged once again, as he has throughout his entire career. He always is the guy that seems to find a way to win. So we go to Denver right now for that discussion. And we have Mark Schlereth joining us right now on the Goodyear Hotline, brought to you by Goodyear, helping you discover the road ahead. Goodyear, more driven. Mark, good morning. So why Teddy Bridgewater? I mean, I think I know why, but why do you believe he's the guy they chose?
Oh, he's a better quarterback. He gives them an opportunity to do exactly what they want to do. Vic Fangio has been a defensive guru throughout the course of his career. They have compiled some pretty good defensive players. Von Miller looks great. Bradley Chubb is back from injury. Their secondary, on paper, and again, I always say this, on paper, I'd have spent a lot less time on an operating table if the games were played on paper. So
These airplanes, man.
take it for what it's worth, but on paper, that secondary looks they look very compelling. They're very good. They drafted a Patrick Surtain the second in the first round. He is a legit player, and he is playing in camp everywhere from outside corner to nickel corner to dime corner. The guy has been amazing throughout training camp, and they're looking at it like, who gives us the best chance to orchestrate this offense, to keep us moving on third downs, to keep us in games, being consistent. And that by far has been Teddy Bridgewater in these matchups, in these practices. And I've been to almost every practice. You watch just him through his progressions, how he gets from one side to the next side, how quickly he does that, his presence in the pocket, getting rid of the football, understanding where all five eligibles are. He is literally, head and shoulders above a young quarterback in Drew Lock in those things, those efficiency places. And that's where he wins this competition, hands down.
Mark, this is Sam Macho. Thanks so much for coming on. You said you've been at every single practice, and I think we all know how good Vic Fangio and that defense is, and also the players. My question is, does Teddy Bridgewater give the Broncos a chance to make the playoffs? Right? Look at obviously we all know who Kansas City is, and then I think a lot of people are starting to understand who the LA Chargers are. What do you think that he does when it comes to that team and that division and making the playoffs?
Well, I really think it comes down to staying on schedule. Like, if you want a guy, to make great splash plays, then Drew Lock is your guy. But the problem with splash plays is there's good splash plays and there are bad splash plays, right? And the possessions, a possession in football is, it's precious. And if you're giving up a possession or two a game, you're going to lose in when you're constructed the way the Broncos are constructed. And so the hope is, hey, listen, we have to discover what our identity is when it comes to running the ball. We have to have that in place. We have to be able not only to run the play action stuff, but more importantly, we have to be able to run the run action stuff, right? The stuff that comes off the boot keep game and all that stuff, so that we can keep these chains moving. And the bottom line is we just can't turn the ball over. We have to win those close games. So everything becomes vitally important when you're playing that style of football, when you're relying on your defense that you've paid more money than any other team in football over the last few years on defensive players. When you're relying on that part of the equation, then offensively you have to play a complementary style of football. You can't throw 2 interceptions in a game and expect to win those games. And that's really where they made this move. And that's really where, Teddy's strength is. And I think you go back because they really feel here that this roster is definitely improved, and these young players that they drafted, these young wide receivers, are going to start to blossom. They want a quarterback to help them blossom, to make sure they're in the right place, to make sure they've got the right depths on routes and all those things. And that's what Teddy brings to the equation for them. And they know that they're going to be in a bunch of one-score games based upon the way they're built. And that's what they're trying to accomplish right now.
Mark, Bart Scott, I feel like your friends call you Stink, and I've always been like a honorary, like Mark Slayer fan, because I feel like you're one of the best in the game. Can I call you Stink?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Bart, that would be my pleasure.
Well, Stink, like it's crazy. Like when Aaron Rodgers and when Deshaun Watson were saying that they wanted to go to Denver, I think everybody was surprised. But I think the masses don't really understand how much offensive firepower is on this Denver Broncos offense. When you think about KJ Hamler, Jerry Jeudy, who had a lot of drops, but we know that he's a stud, but Sutton coming back, Noah Fant. Like, explain to the masses, the people that's listening out there, why Denver is like a sneaky pick to kind of get into the playoffs, and they can be dangerous because they are built like, some of these traditional teams that have, a defense that can travel on the road and an offense that can be electric.
Yeah, you look at it, Barton, and I've said this for years that there's a lack of depth on this football team, and there has been, and that's why they made the chicken comes in, and what they've done this off season to not only to basically bolster that roster, especially along the offensive line, where they have some answers now, where they really never did. They never really had answers if somebody went down. And the problem over the last couple of years is, you're starting, and this, when you start a backup that ends up having to start, a guy that should be playing backup has to start in the NFL. That means the backup to that guy should be a street free agent. He should be on the street. And so when you have multiple injuries, you have problems. They infuse this offense with a bunch of talent, athletic talent. They need that athletic talent to learn how to play great football. And that has started to happen here. But as well as anybody, hey, Jerry Jeudy can beat people in routes and he is electric. He is dynamic. He's unbelievable, in and out of breaks, gets on guys' toes at the top of a stem, gets out, and he is wide open. The bottom line, though, is you have to be able to do that when the ball's not coming to you. So the rest of those guys are getting the same opportunities that you're getting. And those are the things that they have not been able to do. There's a big difference between being a great football player and being a great athlete, right? And I always say this, football is hard for athletes. It's easy for football players. And the issue that they have right now is they've got an extremely gifted roster athletically that needs to learn how to play football. And I think that's another reason that Teddy Bridgewater is the guy. You see a mistake made on the football field, and Drew Lock goes back to the coaches. Teddy goes to the players and says, hey, man, you can't run that route that way. You've got to have better depth on that route. Hey, you got to come out of that break. Hey, you have to trust me. If you win on your opening move off the line of scrimmage, I'm going to get you the ball. Don't go into a secondary move because it created a pick. Like, I've seen him walk up to players and say, what are we doing here? And those are the things, that's the nuanced part of football that coaches evaluate, that players can see.
Also, yeah, if y'all didn't know, Denver's my team, and the reason why I feel like they should choose Teddy Bridgewater is obviously that reason, because he had more experience than Drew Lock, even though Drew Lock was basically like coaching with Peyton Manning, all that stuff. But Teddy been through the thick and thin, and yeah, like I like to see that because when I see him play, like I always dream that too. Like it's funny that like once Teddy Bridgewater got like released from the Vikings, and then I was thinking like, he should play with the Denver Broncos. Like I don't know, I feel like it would look cool having him on the Denver Broncos, cause he's really a good quarterback, no doubt. He's a really good, awesome quarterback. I still like Drew Lock, he's my guy. But whoever the starter is, I'm supporting and shit. It is what it is. It's at the end of the day, it's a business, you know. But yeah, man. Dang, man. That that's crazy. I was like, dang, I'm like, Teddy Bridgewater is the quarterback. It's like, jeez. Okay, okay. And also, y'all sleeping on fucking Denver, man. We have some wide receiver. We have a bunch of. We just a sleeper team, man. We a sleeper team. Y'all doubt us because our quarterback situation. But other than that, if we have a good quarterback on center, we do now. Well, we obviously do. Always been do, but he been struggling. So the backup is now starting quarterback. Man, it's crazy, man. It's crazy, man. Oh man. Well, so we got like 17 more days until like the NFL season starts. Hey man, let's go, man. Other than that, we out. You dig? uh,